Hey everyone, welcome back to Talking Scents. I'm Ben. Today we do a review of a fragrance that came out, it's a fairly newish release, came out at the start of the autumn, I think, sort of August, September time this year. And it's a fragrance that I've been wearing quite a lot of recently and really enjoying. So yeah, this is Vanilla Diorama by Dior. So the listed notes for Vanilla Diorama are what caught my eye because I've always wanted a kind of chocolate orange fragrance, and I've tried a few. Sort of notable would be the Xerjoff one, Symphonium, and that to me was quite a letdown. It had like a big chocolate orange in the beginning, but then it very quickly just turned into a kind of what I felt like just turned into a quite a dull white musk. So it didn't really do it for me. So I've kind of always sort of had my eye on that. Like that note combination, and so when Diorama came out, straight away it was quite my ears pricked up to it. So the note listing is orange in the top with pink pepper and lemon, and then rum, cacao and cardamom in the middle notes, and bourbon vanilla, sandalwood and patchouli in the base. And I think that's actually relatively transparent. It's quite interesting, so we'll give it a spray. I've got the dry down on this wrist, so I'll give it a spray somewhere around here, and we'll have a little chat about it. So when you first spray it, quite interestingly, my initial reaction to it was that it reminded me a little bit of Lune Feline. And they're quite different fragrances. If you've smelt Lune Feline, or if you've not smelt Lune Feline, it's a big sort of cardamom and vanilla fragrance. But my first initial reaction was like, the vanilla in this reminds me a lot of Lune Feline. And what I mean by that is it's quite a boozy, dusty, quite large vanilla. Not sort of cooking vanilla, not juvenile kind of childish vanilla. It's quite a grown-up, dark, musty, dusty vanilla. But it's very different from Lune Feline in a lot of other ways. That's about, say, like to put the two fragrances together, not really. So, but at first you get this big vanilla, like I say, and that was the first thing that hit me. On subsequent wears, I've kind of noticed a few other things that come out on that initial spray. First of all, it's like the booziness of the vanilla is definitely mixed with the booziness of a very kind of tangy rum scent, which I think kind of adds to that booziness. And you also get that orange, which is to me quite prominent, but it's not a juicy sort of fleshy orange. Like it's not very fresh. It doesn't smell like thirst quenching at all. It's definitely quite a bitter, like almost like orange rind. And again, it's not a similar fragrance in any way, shape or form, but I get kind of reminiscence of that kind of bitter orange peel note from Terre d'Hermès. And at least not in any way similar, but just if you smell them, you kind of will get what I'm saying with that kind of bitterness and that almost kind of dirtiness of the orange. To me, it's a slight bitter, sort of say like orange rind, and it's nice. I do like it, and there is a kind of, I suppose it's the cacao note. There is a slight chocolate note to it, but for me it's more vanilla and rum and orange that I'm getting. And so it's not like I hoped when I read the thing, like I said earlier, like I kind of wanted this big like chocolate orange. It's not that at all. There is a hint of a sort of chocolate orange vibe to it, but it's not that. It's much more about that big dusty vanilla, the sort of booziness of the rum, and the orange, which is quite bitter and say like rindy. But it makes for a very nice opening, actually, and I really like it. And pretty much everyone that's smelt it so far has really enjoyed that as well. Interestingly, as the fragrance moves on, it changes quite a bit. And so you have this kind of initial opening for a while. It gets a little creamier. Like right now, it's dropping that booziness slightly and that sort of tanginess of the booze and the citrus, and instead you're getting a bit more of a kind of creamy chocolate vibe to it, and that does sort of hang around for about the first 30 minutes. That's about what you get. You get this kind of like slight creamy chocolate, bitter orange, which is nice, and I do like it, sort of, and it's all kind of underscored by a dusty vanilla. The booziness starts to fade quite sharp, quite quickly, and the vanilla sort of hangs around and maintains that boozy edge, but it drops that kind of big rum note quite quickly, I find. And then you sort of move into the third stage, which I would say is like the final stage, which lasts from about sort of 30 minutes to 45 minutes in for like the rest of the fragrance. And it changes and it gets quite interesting, and I've had quite mixed reactions on this. Some people I've sort of heard talk about this fragrance and said that they think that it smells quite old women, like an old lady's fragrance. Now I can totally get that, and what it is those bass notes come out, and the bass notes are definitely like a patchouli and a sandalwood. And so when you think about that, like kind of in the dry down, what you're getting is like a patchouli, sandalwood and vanilla, which is quite traditional in a way, and it is quite a classical scent, which does kind of make it lean, if you want it to be derogatory and harsh, a bit like an old lady's fragrance. I don't personally think it smells like that. I think it smells much better, and I do think it has a modern twist to it, and it maintains just a hint of that orange throughout, which kind of helps, gives it that kind of bitterness and something a little bit kind of edgy. But it definitely has a classical vibe to it, and it's definitely that patchouli and sandalwood. Sandalwood, actually, the sandalwood note in this I find really nice. It's quite a photorealistic sandalwood, a little bit spicy, and it's kind of like obviously pairs very well with that patchouli that gives it a kind of slight dank heaviness in the bottom. And of course, all of this is still surrounded, like cocooned almost, in this kind of soft, pillowy vanilla. It's not anywhere near as dark as the vanilla, and the wear is nowhere near as dark as as Lune Feline, but that vanilla still reminds me just a hint of that vanilla from Lune Feline, with that kind of dustiness, quite mature vanilla. Overall, I really enjoy it. And I don't think it smells like old ladies, and I find it a really nice wear, and I've worn this since I had it almost every day for about a week now, and partly that's been trying to get to grips with it so I could do this review, but partly it's just because every morning I've got up and I've just thought, you know what, I kind of just fancy wearing that again, because it's nice, and it seems to be suiting this kind of time of the year as well. It is quite warm and cozy. So yeah, I think it's really good. Now, but this is the tricky bit. I did a stream with Eugene from You Smells Good. I forgot the name of his channel because it's just Eugene, isn't it? But yeah, from You Smells Good. And there was a guy on there, and he said that he thinks that if this had been like a regular Dior line that was sold in, you know, like pharmacies and department stores or whatever, at like, you know, $100 for 100 ml, you know, regular kind of designer prices, he thinks it would be a smash hit. And I think that's like the perfect way to explain it. I think this would be incredible at that price range. I think if they'd have released it at that price range, people would have loved it. It would have knocked it out of the park. It would have been, this is very much like a crowd-pleasing scent. There's nothing bad in it. There's nothing difficult in it. It's easy to wear. It's cozy. It's warm. It's got all these, you know, it's edgy in that way that it's got that orange, which makes it different. But it's still got those classical elements that make it comfortable for just about everyone. No one's going to find anything shocking or surprising here. And the vanilla, of course, just makes it really cozy and warm and nice and pleasing and pleasant. Almost everyone is going to enjoy this fragrance if they like quite sweet, sort of vanilla fragrances. Where I suppose it all falls down is the fact that it isn't that. And it's part of the Privé line, which is difficult and makes things tougher, right? Because this is far more expensive than $100 for 100 ml. You know, they're asking for a lot of money, and it's the Privé line. And I think we all know where the Privé line has gone these days. And I think actually that this is a return to form in a lot of ways, or at least it's heading in the right direction. It's taking the Privé line in a right direction. But I do think this is largely overpriced for what it actually is because of that, because it's the Privé line. And it's not just a kind of $100 for 100 ml in your regular department store. I really like it as a scent. I don't feel bad that I bought it, and I've worn it, like I say, every day, and I'll continue to wear it probably quite a lot this winter. And it's a lovely fragrance, really enjoyable. But for a Privé, I'm not sure, you know. I feel like I just want a little bit more artistry and not really quality, because it's not that the quality is lacking here, but there's just nothing special either. There's nothing, I'm not wearing this and feeling like, oh, I'm wearing something special. Absolutely not. Like, I've been wearing this every day for the last week because I haven't been doing much. I've been like just wearing like kind of jumpers, t-shirts, chucking this on, and it's a lovely easy chuck, you know, for this time of year that keeps, you know, it's nice, warm, cozy. But it's just not special. It's not special in the way those old Dior Privés were. It's not Eau d'Ispahan, it's not Eau Noire, it's not Leather Rude, you know, it's any of those kind of like big artistic Dior Privé lines. It's got none of that. It's got everything of a lovely fragrance, and I suppose that's what makes this difficult, but it's not Dior Privé, I suppose I want to say. I mean, in a lot of ways, you look at the Dior Privé line and maybe you can say it is Dior Privé, and that's precisely the problem. But yeah, that's my thoughts on it. Do I think you should buy it? I mean, I think if you like the sound of the notes and you like this description that I gave you, then definitely get a sample and give it a go, because I do think it's really nice, but it is really overpriced, and it's whether or not you will find that enough enjoyment out of it for the price that they're asking. I think that's just the difficulty here. Otherwise, I think it's a really lovely fragrance. I really enjoyed wearing it, and like I say, I will continue to enjoy wearing it. So yeah, that's my thoughts really on Vanilla Diorama by Dior. Nice, but perhaps just not really nice enough, I guess. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. It's nearly Christmas. Have a great holiday and New Year. I'll probably, well, hopefully going to find some time to put out a few more videos before the New Year, but if I don't, before Christmas. I hope you have a great Christmas. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all real soon. Cheers.